The people who are currently in control of this planet wanting to reign as God in a world that they've turned into hell, rather than live in harmony with natural law, which would create heaven on earth. They would rather reign in hell than serve in heaven. We were looking at image number 7 over the last couple of segments, and I'm going to transition now from looking at what the hypercube represents to seeing how it's used in the world. So let's move on to image number 8, where we see the most ubiquitous place that we will see the hypercube in everyday life. It is at every street intersection, practically. The stop sign. Now, people will say, okay, it can't be that simple. Occult symbols can't be all around us just like that. A stop sign as an occult symbol. Well, the stop sign is based on the octagon. The octagon is based upon the hypercube. It is derived from the 2D projection of the hypercube. Any shape could be the shape of a sign. A stop sign could have been made square. It could have been made circular, but it is octagonal. And there is a reason for that. This shape is an archetype. It is the archetype of the prison. And we're going to see how it's used in that capacity. The command stop is not just saying that to the driver in the car as they approach the intersection. It is saying that to anyone who looks at the sign. It is immediately going into the subconscious mind. You are being told to stop continuously at every corner, every place you walk. The frequency red, the color red, which is a frequency of a wavelength of light, is being used in conjunction with this command inside of the octagon or the hypercube. And it is ultimately saying to you to stop your forward progress, stop your development, stop your seeking, stop your striving for freedom, for truth, for answers. It's saying stop to evolutionary development as a whole, to everyone that looks at that sign. There's a reason the colors are used as well, as we saw when we looked at different frequencies and how they relate to the brain. Red is a predominantly left-brained responding frequency. This is where they want to hold people. In the part of the brain that has no connection to intuition, to creativity, to the sacred feminine. We'll pick this up on the other side. You're listening to What on Earth is Happening. Be right back, folks. Welcome back, everyone. We were looking at the stop sign and the way, as a octagonal projection of the hypercube, it affects human consciousness, being at just about every crossroads we come to. Let's continue to look at some of the places that the hypercube, or its other forms, the octagon and the double square, is used in the modern world. And this next section we'll be focusing on, and this is a subset of some of the presentation that I did at the Free Your Mind conference. This next section will deal with how the symbolism of the hypercube is used in relationship to police and military. Again, the groups of people that the dark occultists refer to as our dogs. And police and military, really, honestly, It's not my business whether you want to accept that. But I'm telling you, that's what they call you. I know that's what they call you. I heard them refer to you as that from their lips. So, believe whatever you want. That's how your owners think of you. I know anybody that told me that they thought of me as their dog. You think I'm going to listen to anything else that you have to say and orders that you bark at me? You're the dog, not me. And anything else that comes out of your trap is going to sound like ruff, 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 ruff to me. Because if you told me that you have such little respect for me that you consider me your pet, you think I'm going to do anything that you command me to do? Yet this is what goes on every single day. Every single day of these people's lives, following orders of people who think of them as their pets. I mean, it boggles my imagination. And, you know, in a way, I understand how people might be hesitant to accept that because it's so uncomfortable. And this is what some of the dark occultists that I worked with basically said to me in so many words. You think that you're going to go and tell the dead what we do, and they're going to get it? You're going to explain it to them in a way that they can understand? See, they look at people as not even animals, as lower than animals, with no intelligence factor at all. And they would say to me when they knew I was uncomfortable with what was going on, and, you know, they were going to lose one, the idea was, you're going to go and cast pearls before swine, and they're going to hate you for it. And honestly, I don't care whether that's true. Maybe it is true. Then so be it. Again, as I've said many times on the show, I'm not doing this for people. I'm doing this because I serve the truth herself and no other. That's who my vow has been taken to. No earthly institution, no person or group of people. Truth herself. The sacred feminine. The goddess, if you will. So, they said to me, you're going to go and tell and expose to these people that we own them and expect them to understand and accept that. They said to me, if we came with you and told people this, they wouldn't believe us. And we could tell them exactly what we did and how we did it. They said they would choose not to believe their own owners that are telling them how they're owned, because they're in such psychological denial. That's what was said to me before I completely got out of the institutions that I was involved with. So let's move on and look at some of this symbolism in relationship to police and military. Slide number 9 is a quote from the researcher David Icke, who I have profound respect for speaking his truth without being afraid of any repercussions or what anyone thinks about him. One of the most courageous people I know. If everybody had his courage, the world would be free tomorrow. In his book, The Biggest Secret, he talks about the symbolism of the hypercube without actually naming it as such. He says the double square. Now, double square, you could substitute hypercube. It is the same thing, essentially. The double square, one square on top of another in any form, is more secret society symbolism. He calls it secret society symbolism. I refer to it as occult symbolism. In the secret language of symbolism, one square on top of another means control of all that is right and all that is wrong, all that is just and all that is unjust, all that is positive and all that is negative. In other words, the double square means, quote, we control everything. Now, for the police or military personnel that might happen to be listening to this radio show or podcast, this does not mean that you control everything. It means that the dark occultists who put this symbolism there control everything, including you, including your mind, including your actions. They own you. You're owned. Wholly owned. Lock, stock, and barrel.